After running crypto miners in my home for nearly a year, I recently decided to shut it down, and in this video, I'm gonna break down how much I made mining crypto altcoins and why I eventually decided to cease mining operations in my home completely. But first, let me give you guys a tour of the crypto miners in my home. First up, down here in my basement, we have an IceRiver KS1, which is known for mining a cryptocurrency called Caspa. And getting this entire setup going cost me a lot more than I expected. Since first, I had to install this 240 volt outlet, which somehow cost me around $900. Then next I bought this PDU, which cost around $130, connecting to this C13 to C14 cable, which was another 10 bucks. And finally, the IceRiver KS1 was worth around $2,700 when I got it. At the time I started mining Caspa, it was listed as the second most profitable cryptocurrency to mine, listed right behind Bitcoin, with other cryptos like Monero or Litecoin coming next. But before I get into my entire experience mining Caspa, let's get this machine going for old time's sake by connecting the Ethernet cable to my router and running it all the way through my house and down the stairs. And now that we've ran the Ethernet cable all the way down to the basement, we're gonna go ahead and plug it into the machine. And with the machine now plugged in, we're gonna go ahead and turn it on, and pretty soon it's gonna get very loud. And there we go, guys. The machine is super loud now. That's how you know it's really working. Now, to complete the setup process for your miner and turn down the fan speed, all you have to do is have an application installed on your computer like Angry IP Scanner. This works for both Mac and Windows computers. And then once you run the software, you'll be able to find the IP for your miner, since instead of a red dot next to it, it'll have a green dot since it already has an Ethernet cable connected to it. And then once you find the IP address for your miner, you're gonna type it into your browser and it'll take you to this IceRiver website where you can enter the username admin, and the default password for all IceRiver KS1 machines is 12345678. But obviously, since I already set up my machine, I have my own custom password. And now that we're logged in, you guys can see the machine has been running for 12 minutes. And to turn down the fan speed, we are going to go to this mining settings tab and put in 45%, click save, and you'll notice the miner downstairs got a lot quieter. But with our miner now working hard again in the basement, this machine originally began running in January of 2024, and from the beginning, it was earning around 100 Caspa daily, which at the time was worth around 10 cents each. Unlike Bitcoin, Caspa follows what's known as a gradual emission reduction model, which essentially is a fancy way of saying, unlike how Bitcoin has a halving event every 4 years where half as many rewards are given to miners, Caspa reduces the block reward by a fixed percentage every second of 0.002%. But over a year, that results in a 100% block reward reduction. And this exponential decay model means that literally every second this machine is running, it made less money than it did the second before. And this can be proven when you take a look at my miner's earnings over time. In the beginning, when I was mining Caspa, I was receiving at least 100 Caspa every single day. But after a few months went by, my payouts dipped to 100 Caspa except every 2 or 3 days. And taking a look at this chart that maps out my first 3 months of Caspa earnings, you guys can see January and February were by far my best months, since I brought in just about 2,000 Caspa in February, and back then the price was 10 cents each, so I made about $200. Then in February, the price of Caspa went on a massive run, going from 10 cents to 17 cents each, and I mined even more Caspa in February than I did in January, since instead of the miners running for just 15 or 20 days in January, they ran the entire time. My USD earnings for the month came out to $480, but in March, Caspa mining became much less profitable for me, and I also decided to sell some of my Caspa coin and trade into other cryptocurrencies like Solana and eventually Bitcoin. I sold 1,000 Caspa on March 1st and 1,500 Caspa on March 8th for $398.50. And I ended the month of March mining just 1,435 Caspa. With the proceeds from the Caspa sale, I bought a total of 2.811 Solana between March 1st and then again on March 6th. I then sold 2 Solana coins for Bitcoin in June, resulting in a $160 profit, versus if I'd held Caspa until now, I would have lost money since the coin went from 17 cents down to 12 cents. At this point mining Caspa, I stopped hodling any of the currency I was mining, instead selling it for Bitcoin with another major sell order on June 16th for 6,000 Caspa at 15 cents each. And all of those funds went into Bitcoin, which is now worth $1,336.84 off a $918 investment. And if those funds would have stayed in Caspa, it'd only be worth $730 right now. The reason I think Caspa is underperforming other cryptocurrencies in this recent run-up is because, well, looking at at this chart, it absolutely exploded throughout 2022 and 2023, especially going on a major run-up at the end of 2023. The coin's also still sitting at a market cap of $3 billion, making it the 45th largest cryptocurrency, so it's by no means a small fish. I just think because it had such a major run-up relatively recently, there might not be another one for a while. But that said, I personally have at least 98% of my crypto portfolio invested in Bitcoin, so 8,500 of the 8,620 Caspa I mined has been exchanged for 0.0182 Bitcoin, which is currently worth $1,747. And I also still have some Solana and Caspa in the portfolio, but not much. Altogether, the total proceeds mining for 6 months with the IceRiver KS1 machine was $1,900, which is obviously less than the total cost for the setup, but a big reason I stopped mining in June was because of high electricity costs. At my house in Milwaukee, my electricity cost is 17 cents per kilowatt, which I think is slightly above the national average and means that this IceRiver KS1 machine will cost us $2.45 daily to run. That's about $70 to $75 per month in expenses, and means in the 20 days of June we were running the machine, we profited only $24.65 after electricity costs. And now things are even worse, because when you look at the profitability of the machine, it's only set to make us 69 cents per day, and that's because as more powerful machines hit the market and take up more of the network hash rate, older machines like mine start being less profitable. And since we started mining with the machine in my basement 3 days ago, we've only earned a little over 50 cents, which means after electricity costs, we're down like $6 to $7 already. So guys, I think it's time to call it quits by going down the stairs and turning our machine off. It's literally so much quieter already. It's the end of an era. A year later since I started mining, Caspa is now sitting as the 7th most profitable cryptocurrency to mine, with newer machines like the IceRiver KS3 still breaking even if you had super cheap electrical costs like my Bitcoin miners out in Iowa. Another coin I tried mining a few months ago is Kadena, which is currently listed as the 22nd most profitable crypto to mine, and in total we only made about $21.74 mining Kadena for a whole 4 months, and I spent more than that on electricity costs for sure. At the end of the day though, with a cheap machine like this that costs maybe a couple $100 online and plugs in with the regular 120 volt outlet in the wall, is it really gonna make you that much money? And it's turning on right now. But comment down below, should I keep this machine running even though it's losing me money in case Kadena pumps? But that said, let's continue with another crypto altcoin mining story from my friend Mark, who got in super early mining a small cap crypto project known as Helium Mobile that ended up making him $100,000 before crashing.
Okay, so Helium Mobile is actually a phone plan, a 5G phone plan. I have it myself, and what it basically does is you can connect your own internet to a module or a hotspot, and it will relay that internet, providing cell phone coverage for 5G network.
And the people running these cell phone hotspots outside their home got rewarded in Helium tokens.
So it's not like Bitcoin where it's proof of work and solving math problems or anything like that. They're really just mobile hotspots that are relaying internet. Because I'm providing proof of coverage, I get paid for providing the coverage, and when people use and connect to my hotspots, I get paid for sharing my internet.
And so how did you first hear about this, and when did you decide to invest?
Yeah, so back in 2021, I bought one of the first Bobcat miners for the original Helium network, which is IoT, Internet of Things. Long story short, I made a little bit of money off that, but it ended up not working out and I was at a loss.
This little box is part of a $1 billion network no one uses. It's called a Helium miner, and I was gifted it by a friend who told me that it would pay me every day just to sit on a shelf. I've made $22 with this little thing, which is a 20th of the cost of the actual machine.
But because I was in the space and keeping up with all the news, I realized that Helium was launching the new Helium Mobile plan, which was going to be a phone plan with much more utility. But when I first got involved with the project, I was actually buying the miners before the token was even live. So I was really taking a gamble on it, and I got in super early. So I bought the miner, and then I was paid in Helium Mobile tokens, but I actually couldn't sell them or do anything with the Helium Mobile token. It was in this Genesis period where if you were one of the people to get these miners online before the token was live or anything like this, you were paid in massive amounts of this token, which further down the line I could sell. Pretty much for the first year, I want to say, I was just mining in Detroit because nothing too much happened with the project. The price ended up skyrocketing. And then from there, I was hooked. I realized, wow, I can actually sell my tokens if I want to now. People are starting to learn about it and gain traction. And most importantly, they were announcing these new boosted locations. So in certain cities, you'd have multipliers if you provided coverage in certain areas. And Miami, Florida was one of these places. And I really wanted to get into the ground floor and be one of the first people to deploy in the boosted locations.
So you essentially rented an apartment in Miami. You spent quite a bit of money to get a place just to put a couple machines in there pretty much, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy idea idea, but I ended up finding a location, renting an apartment just so I had home base to deploy across a couple locations. But at the peak of it, I want to say it was making like $300 per day off the machines in the boosted locations.
Damn, and how much was like the nest egg of Helium that you had?
So at the peak, it was over $100,000 I had in Helium Mobile token.
Damn, and that was probably off like what? How much did you put in?
I would say maybe say 5K total in machines that I purchased.
But after 3 months of maintaining a high price point, Helium Mobile coin started to crash. And although there's a lot of speculation behind why this is, from Helium significantly reducing the profitability of older machines to people on Reddit breaking down problems with mobile coins tokenomics, the main problem I've found behind altcoins like Helium Mobile or even coins like Caspa is there's no long-term incentive for people to hold on to it. Unlike Bitcoin, which is experiencing a lot of mainstream adaptation from hedge funds to entire countries holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet.
This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world, and we'll get it done.
Well, for the altcoin market, it's driven almost entirely on speculation, so you're going to see much larger swings in their price.
So now I think it's worth around $10,000, but I will say, after the big crash, I got spooked and I started selling some off consistently. I made 8 grand converted into USDC, so that's locking in 8 grand of profits, and then I have around 10 grand worth in the token still, which we'll see where that goes. Hopefully it goes back up and goes crazy someday.
Ultimately, long term, I plan to keep investing in Bitcoin mining, where I currently operate 2 machines at a low-cost facility in rural Iowa. And if you guys are interested in investing in Bitcoin mining for as little as $100, I'm launching a Reg CF where I plan to scale up the operation in rural Iowa. So I'll leave a link down below in the description for you guys who are interested. And otherwise, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.